Ladies and gentlemen, may I direct your attention to something quite extraordinary.
You are listening to
Kayak Adventure Series.
Kayak Adventure Series. This is where you choose your own adventure. You want to be offshore, be shallow, you want to go up the creek. You want to have a kayak that is sophisticated or a kayak that is simple. You get to choose your own adventure. Oh, looky there. That's a micro bag. Hey, I saw you in the wild, but you're going to be at the theater tonight. I hope you brought the family. This is going to be wild. Hey, this adventure is going to be amazing. What is going on, everyone? We left Michigan and we're headed to Missouri, and we have quite the show today. We have some business owners, we have our main sponsor for this event, and we have a bunch of anglers that are experts, and you're gonna not want to miss this show. What's up, guys?
Not too much, buddy. How's your week been?
Not too bad. It's a good week.
Yeah.
We missed out on some ice, warmed up. We just got like cold rain. So I felt like I was supposed to be out there in Ohio fishing in the cold spring rain, but it's still winter.
Yeah, I mean, we got plenty of ice up here, so you can come north a little bit and you'll see plenty of it. But Jake, you guys had some cold weather. Now it seems like it's warm.
Well, it was ice. We got an ice storm where I don't know if you guys saw that video that went viral of that fire truck sliding down into the house.
Yeah.
That happened like literally 30 minutes from me. And we got that ice, and in about 6 days, it's going to be in the 60s next week.
Dude, we are officially like old men. We are starting out just talking about weather. This is not, we got to turn this show around.
You know, I feel like weather, though, is like a angler thing, because like we want to know the weather so we can go fish, you know?
Yeah, that's true. Okay. That's a good time. Yeah. So that was good for our Lines In segment. We talked about the weather presented by Sunline. Thanks to Sunline for being a sponsor of the series. And where are we going to head? We got to, I guess, get this show going. We have a lot of guests, but what do you think, Billy? We got some news and notes we could hit first, right? Our news and notes segment.
We do. All right, there we go. News and notes.
All right, guys. The news and notes for this week. Let me pull up my list here. Okay, yeah. So a couple things. One, for Shoalipalooza, the very first event, there has been, I haven't put it on the website yet, but there has been someone that's contacted us, and they're going to open up a big, giant, massive amount of land that's on the Flint River for primitive camping. If you're interested, hit me up. I'll send you the number of the guy's name. His name is Jared. And you guys can camp there. It'll be like, $120 for the whole week or $25 a day. So hit me up. I'll get you in touch with them, and it's a good place to access the river and camp primitively, and you guys all get there together and sing Kumbaya, campfires, all that good stuff, drink a few beers. It'll be fun. So
right,
if you need primitive camping, there you go. Team name. So Amanda Brandon, Real Tournament Management, doing an amazing job behind the scenes, setting up all the tournament stuff, the TourneyX pages, which, by the way, 4 minutes now past 11. We are live for registration for this event. First person that registers does get that dark horse tackle box. So you guys we should check. Someone's probably already registered and won that box already. But anyway, she's doing a great job behind the scenes, and we've got this team division thing that's going on. And what we've decided to mention to you guys on the news and notes is we're going to allow you to use a team name. So if you want to represent a sponsor with your two-man team name, or like today, for example, we got got Old Town, we got Eco Fishing Shop on here. Let's say some of the pro staff for either one of those companies wanted to make a two-man team, two guys that are obviously on their pro staff, and just call it, Old Town Watercraft, right? Or Team Eco Fishing Shop. They could do that. That's no problem, but we just want to make sure everyone understands that obviously team names are subject to approval. Anything inappropriate or something like that, it's just going to get pulled down. We were debating on whether or not we could do that or just do the last names only. But the cool thing about what Dwayne Wally has done at TourneyX is, even though it's got a team name out to the side, if you've noticed in other team tournaments, which Josh Boothe, a little foreshadowing on the show later, for the All-American, had a team division. it shows another column with the 2 anglers' names. So we still see, and obviously their scores, which add up to their team total. So on the standings, I still get the team names, which I need on stage when I'm doing the MC. I need to know who what their names are, but you guys can still use another team name, if you will. So that's kind of fun. Be creative, have fun with it. And that's an update there. Refunds and moving entries to different events. So a lot of people really want to enter because they get the $100 sponsors prize back if you're one of the first 100 anglers to enter the event. So obviously they're excited about it. They want to get that because it's $150 to enter the individual division. So you're basically spending $50 to enter the event right off the bat, right? So it's a good deal. Everyone's excited, but they also don't want to register for events too early because they're afraid, well, what if something happens and I can't make it? Well, good news. Amanda Brandon said, no problem. She's handling all of it. She can move your entry to another event if God forbid something comes up and you can't make it.
Some applause.
Yeah, applause for that. Yeah.
Applause. Yeah.
Crank that up. That was good. Good news. And I believe she said, if you want a full refund, as long as you do it within 2 days of the event, you're going to get or I don't know, actually, don't quote me on that, a full refund, but I'm pretty sure it's a refund minus a few, the fees that whatever, for credit card or Attorney X, whatever the fees are there. So basically it's almost a full refund. So 2 days before the event, you can still get that as well. So go ahead. In other words, go ahead and sign up right now for Ozarkana or all the events. We've got a lot of folks. I believe close to 20 are signed up for Shoalipalooza. So to put that in perspective, Shoalipalooza is like 4 months away. And so we're going to be hitting that mark really fast. And if you look at a lot of national and other big kayak fishing tournaments, you typically do not have this many people signed up this early. So that's pretty exciting. And can't wait to see that event hit. I'm hoping.
Yeah. And also, Drew, there's a lot like behind the scenes. There's a lot of like different groups where people are talking about getting their lodging and sharing a room. They're getting Airbnb or they're camping or whatever. And I've seen where there's people that have agreed to be in a certain group, but not everyone signed up. So 20 signed up is pretty good, but it's even better than it sounds because there's people that have already committed to, being in a house with some other buddies or whatever. So,
for sure.
Yeah,
I know. I know like 50, 60 people off the top of my head that literally are coming to this event that haven't signed up. So it's going to hit 100 fast. And as we creep close to 100, I think it's going to go faster because people want to make sure they don't miss out on that gift bag. And then can you imagine we hit 100 and there's 2 months left or 3 months left of registration time, and people realize this is going to be big and this entry in the pot's going to be big. So let's all, make this just a big fun party. The more the merrier, obviously, for an event like this. So that is let's see, any other updates here? Hashtags, just so you guys know, our hashtags, official hashtags, which we should have wrote them. Maybe you can write them in here and put them on the screen, Billy. But we want to make sure people know our hashtag is Chase the Wild for the Kayak Adventure series. And also, if you're going to post anything about the 2024 series, you can hashtag KAS 2024. So that way we kind of keep track of that through the year. Last thing, and then we'll get to our first guest. I will be at the Columbus Fishing Expo and also the Indy Sports Show. So I believe the Columbus one is like the 8th or 9th or something like that. And the Indy one's the next weekend. So middle of February, I'll be at those 2 shows. I could talk to you guys, see you in person, talk Kayak Adventure Series, talk tournament fishing, talk whatever you want to talk. Kayaks, I'm there for it. So come see me. And I know a lot of other folks are going to be at these shows. So it's show season. So let's get out there and meet all you guys.
We had one here recently and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. They're definitely happening, man. All around. What else can you do? It's cold, right? Now I'm talking about the weather again.
They're so much fun.
All right, let's get to some of our guests. Let's get to the main event, if you will. Main event. We need like little sound effects that go with these graphics.
We do.
We're
going to have event. Main event.
Could like a Bruce Buffer sort of like
hire him
voice.
To do the let's get
ready
to rumble.
That's right. I don't know if you guys follow Reese Stoughton on I'm in Ohio, so I'm a sucker
I know
for
what Reese is.
Yeah, Reese just got his Old Town autopilot delivered. He made a great video about it, whatever, on TikTok and Instagram and all that. So, and that's kind of a transition into the main event, right? Because our first guest is,
sir.
I'll let you introduce him.
Oh, Mr. Ryan Lilly. Yeah, buddy. Old Town Watercraft. Not too much, man. Just excited about this event. Excited to have you guys on as the presenting, kayak manufacturer, which, by the way, I really noticed today, because I see below your name there, it says Old Town Watercraft, that you guys go by Watercraft. I think that's pretty cool. It's not, I think people are used to saying Old Town Kayaks. Was there a change when that happened, or is that something I've just never noticed before? Have you always been Watercraft?
Yeah, from 1898 till probably the late 1980s, we went by Old Town Canoe. And then it became Old Town Canoes and Kayaks. And because, watercraft and the boats we love to fish from are changing so dramatically the last handful of years, we wanted to broaden it because we feel a lot of the watercrafts these days really kind of, they're not quite kayaks, they're not quite canoes, and it's a bit more inclusive of the direction of our space, I think. So Old Town Watercraft, we've been Old Town Watercraft now for probably 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, no, that's cool, man. And I wonder how and when, because you're called Watercraft, and it's true, we're in little mini boats. There's going to be some point where, I guess there's going to be some more like discussions when someone makes something, rotomolded, that's a watercraft, that's even bigger, and just basically it really is a boat. Because I had a 14-foot fiberglass bass boat back in the day. Believe it or not, like I had a glass stream as my first bass boat. I can't remember, it bought it for like $600-700 and fixed it up. It was a bass boat. So what are we gonna allow 14, 15 foot, wide, just as wide as obviously every trail's got their parameters. I don't want to get into the rabbit hole, but it's interesting that you guys, I think that's smart that you've chosen that a watercraft, because you're making watercraft, some of them are more true kayaks and some of them are more the new kind of kayak that we fish out of. But before we get down the weeds, Ryan, tell us who you are and what you do for Old Town.
Yeah. So Ryan, Lilly, been with the Old Town now for about 8 years. From Maine, that's where our production facility is based. I've lived elsewhere, Florida, Washington State, Arizona, but raising the family here in Maine, love it. It's a great place to be. And, Old Town, has been around since 1898, which is super cool. The trajectory of our company has been quite interesting. We started as a canoe shop off the back of a hardware store in downtown Old Town back in 1898. And that really post-war recreation, when people came back from World War I and World War II, just wanted to be outside and have fun. And Maine is also known to be kind of an outdoorsman's paradise. So we had a lot of people coming from Boston and New York and DC that wanted to come, have a guided sportsman experience. And so there's a lot of guiding and forestry and everything that really is the roots of our, the fabric of who we are as Mainers. And so because we're, covered in water here in Maine, we got a lot of lakes, a lot of ponds, a lot of rivers, and obviously our coastline. Boats have just always been something that everybody owns in Maine. And everybody were, at the time we're using either bateaus, which are flat bottom kind of John boat style boats, or birch bark canoes. And really, so we got our start as a company that innovated canoes at the very beginning, making wood canvas canoes that were a lot easier to maintain and build than a birch bark canoe. And then after post-war, with the boom of people wanting to be out in the water and up in Maine and recreating in New England, we started to introduce other boats to our lineup, like sailboats, offshore trawlers. We had sail canoes. We had a variety of different watercraft, and really started experimenting with a lot of different materials at the time. And fast forward to the 70s, 80s, 90s, we really settled back into our roots as a canoe manufacturer. Johnson Outdoors, who is the parent company of Old Town, purchased Old Town in the 1970s, and we were one of the first brands within the Johnson Outdoors portfolio, which is super cool. So we've been owned by them for a long time, and Johnson Outdoors is all about innovation and creating a product that customers actually want to buy, and that's informed by what a customer wants. And so that's really kind of where we hang our hat at the end of the day. Is we put a lot of investment up front in understanding what anglers want, what canoers and kayakers and people that want to be out on the water want. So we do a lot of consumer research up front before we bring a boat to market. So that brings us to where we are today, where the Sportsman line has a little bit of everything for anybody. So whether you're on a budget or whether you come with, your tax reimbursement and your bonus money at the end of the year and you want to go big, like we've got something for everybody. Whether you want to pedal, motor, or have a hybrid experience of pedal and motor, we've got something for everybody. And, we're really proud about what we do. And so that's
Coming on strong.
About Old Town and who I am. I do marketing for Old Town Watercraft. So that's what I do.
You're the brand evangelist, it says in your email. I love it. And Billy, if you want, or Jake, you guys can pull up the Old Town site and add it into the screen here, because we're going to talk about real quick a couple things I want to mention before I forget. But Maine, dude, that is an outdoors pair. Everyone talks about how incredible the fishing is in Maine. And just so you know, Ryan, and I guess everyone listening here, watching, the Kayak Adventure Series is this first season is like, we've gone to some incredible places. We're going to some great fisheries. You could hit 100 inches at any one of these stops, but in the future, once we kind of build this thing and people trust and believe that wherever we send them, it's going to be worth that extra 4, 5, or 6 hours away than they normally would go to. A place like Maine or Minnesota, way up there, somewhere, some cool far away locations that we know have some of the best fishing, or some of the places I want to take this series, because again, it's all about adventure and exploration. This is the Kayak Adventure Series. So let's go to Maine one day. Let's go find a town that's got a cool theater, and we just got to trust and build, enough of a base here, angler base, for our series that after this first year, I think we'll know we can probably risk taking people further away. And I would love to get up to Maine, man. Everyone says that about Maine. It is such incredible fishing. And I'm not surprised, because once you get anywhere up north like this and into Canada, it's like just magical how many fish you catch. Yeah, you're not going to catch a 10-pounder, but who cares?
Hey, you never know.
You don't ever know,
pressure.
actually.
There's
no pressure. Yeah. The places the kayaks excel. But let's talk about, you guys have come on strong in the last. I mean, look at this right here. Bassmaster Kayak Series. You handed me this on the Bassmaster Classic stage. That was a real cool experience. And you guys were the headline sponsor. You're coming on strong as a brand, as a company. You're very involved in sponsorships of the major series, obviously with Bassmaster and this one and lots of other local stuff. And people are noticing, and we've always encouraged our anglers to support those who are supporting us, right? Who are putting, investing back into the kayak fishing community. So we appreciate you guys out there checking out Old Town, and you guys are donating a kayak to be raffled off for pediatric cancer at this event. And I don't remember which one it was. You probably do. Do you remember which one it was that we were doing?
Say it's the PDL 120 is
So PDL 120, we can pull one of those up probably on the screen here. That's hugely popular boat from you guys. I know the one that people really talk about is the Autopilot. I know that is a very, very popular model.
Well, apparently the 120 is what Eco says is their most popular model.
So, and you're actually on the paddle version.
Yeah, we're on the paddle version.
PDL, Sportsman PDL 120. It's pedal driven. The PDL 120 is the number one boat in our lineup.
There it is.
Yep. The number one boat. So you're not slacking one bit. You're giving away, raffling away, for cancer here. The PDL 120, the best boat, the most popular boat right now. That's pretty cool. But if you are interested in a motor, you guys do have the Autopilot, which, like I said, has been super popular, teaming up with another Johnson outdoor brand in Minn Kota for that. And it's impressive. That boat's very impressive. And with all the trails, allowing motors, and obviously us here at the Kayak Adventure Series, it's a cool boat to check out as well. But let me see here.
The new colors are awesome too.
We did a color refresh this year. We launched the Sportsman line in 2020 with our two colors, Ember and Photic, and we felt, this being the fourth year of the line, it was time to introduce a few new colors. And with our new EPDL model, when we consumer tested the colors for that boat, the steel camo was super popular, and we've always had a lot of people requesting just traditional camo. So we added those colors to the lineup. Yeah, and to your point, like the Autopilot is amazing. It's just right off the shelf, ready to fish. You just need to source a battery. But for those that don't want to spend the time to drill holes in kayaks and DIY a bow or stern powered boat, you get a bow-mounted trolling motor built into the platform. It's a super popular boat for us. A lot of the serious anglers that you see competing in, the Bassmaster National Series, or a lot of the like MoYak, a lot of people are starting to fish that boat at some of these larger regional trails. And it's a really popular boat because, it works. It's not the fastest boat that's out there, compared to what you can do with some of the stern power, but it gets you to where you need to go, holds you where you want to be to make your casts. And it's just an awesome experience. That's my daily driver. When I'm fishing for bass and even some striper stuff, but like being in Maine, I do a lot of saltwater stuff here in Maine. And I've been fishing a lot out of the new EPDL2, which is awesome because you got a lot of rivers, a lot of tidal river mouths, and then the ocean. And to have that integration of pedal and motor and to be able to crank it up and go
that's
fast.
cool.
The
hybrid. That's a hybrid, right? The one you guys just came out with. I saw that at, where was it? ICAST or Bassmaster Classic when I was checking that out with you guys. It was really cool.
Launched it at ICAST, and that's a really exciting model for us because that's probably our best performing hull in terms of how efficient it cuts through big water. That's why it has its name. But that EPDL technology, it's like the simplest layman's way to describe it is, if anybody's been on an e-bike, it's like an e-bike. It gives you the ability to pedal it, manually. But if you want some assist, like if you're going against a headwind or river current or strong ocean tides, you can ratchet it up and go up to 5 levels of speed assist. And then if you want to take your feet off the pedals, you hit the cruise control button and you get 5 levels of full motorization as well. So it just gives you that ability to get from point A to point B, no matter the conditions, without exhausting yourself. And if your battery dies, you forget your battery, it's still a manual pedal drive that goes forward and reverse. And so it's an awesome new technology that we invested a lot in, and we're really excited to see where it goes.
Yeah, you guys are innovators for sure, man. We appreciate it, and the support for this event. And of course, you're the sponsor of the entire series as well, but this is your naming right event, and we cannot wait to bring on, we'll have Travis on here in just a little bit from Eco Fishing Shop, and they will be bringing some Old Towns. So you guys, all the models we talked about here today, you guys can test those out. Thanks to the folks at Eco Fishing Shop to bring them to the Ozarkana event right there in Poplar Bluff, Missouri. So Ryan, unless you got anything else you want to mention, thanks for your time.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, and good luck with the event. If anybody wants to know more about what we got going on, visit oldtownwatercraft.com or follow us on socials. It's Old Town Fishing is our handle. So,
all right,
thanks so much.
Love it, man. Thank you so much. Yeah, we're gonna.
Hey, Ryan, I do have a quick question. So if I'm on like speed 1, I'm just out cruising for the day. How long can I go on speed 1?
Days. It's pretty crazy. Wow. It's powered by a 36-volt, 20-amp-hour battery that comes included when you buy the kayak. And I've been fishing this boat, under wraps for the last 4 years. It's been in process for a while. I've yet to run out of battery, and I can tell you, speed 1, I think we've got it spec'd at going close to 50 hours straight on speed 1 full motorization. Wow. So, and it goes down from there. So if you're in speed 3 or 4, you're getting about 24 to 32 hours out of it. And speed 5, you're getting about 12 to 16 hours. If you're just full motor, no manual, but we all know how we fish. We go from point A to point B, and then you slow down, you fish. And so really, like, you can go days without having to recharge the battery, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's
crazy,
amazing,
man. That is cool. All right. Well, thanks again. We'll check you later,
guys. Appreciate it.
All right. See ya. Sweet. All right, rock and rolling here. Just basically.
I didn't know that about the battery life. That's crazy.
That is pretty wild. For sure. So can't wait to check out some of those boats, man. I'm a fan of all the kayaks. Hey, I work with design and work with Crescent some, of course, but I love all. I mean, I'm just a kind of like we are with lures, tackle. I just love seeing all the kayaks and all the innovation, and it's really cool to have some of the best brands, the best manufacturers in the industry teaming up with us here on the Kayak Adventure Series. So it's pretty cool. And speaking of Poplar Bluff, let's bring in the man, and then we'll bring in Travis after him. Right here, there he is, Steve Halter, president. Dude, you run the show in the town of Poplar Bluff, man.
I don't know about all that, but yeah. Excited to be on. Thanks for inviting me. And man, I'll tell you, talking about all those kayaks and that battery stuff really gets me charged up, because I sure could have used that when I was doing a 146-mile kayaking trip on Current River. That would have been nice to have that battery.
Wow, man. Yeah, people. So that's just a little hint right there. Mr. Steve here, he knows a little bit about fishing. So, he likes to do the paddling, a little bit of fishing. So he could be dangerous. He might even, well, I don't know if you could enter the event or not. It might be a little bit of a conflict of, I don't know. But
yeah, I think I'll stay out of it.
Yeah, probably stay out of that one. But thanks. That keeps us out of trouble too. But Steve, man, I love the fact that you know kayaks, you know fishing. That's why when I first called you out of the blue and I'm just on the map, I saw what an incredible, theater you guys have, what an incredible area in general for outdoorsmen and the rivers, the lakes. I was like, this is perfect. And then you do that sort of cold call and you're hoping, I sure hope this person knows a little bit about fishing or the outdoors and gets what I'm about to explain. And you did, man. You were all about it. You thought it was really cool. And fortunately, we've had a lot of other support from other tourism departments and big brands and companies that just believe in what we're doing. And I appreciate you guys being, one of the first here and the first out in your area for sure in the Ozark country, which, by the way, your city is considered the gateway to the Ozarks. And we're excited to be there. So, tell us a little bit about some of the area, some of the rivers, or I could even pull up the website here and scroll through some of it while we're talking.
Well, thanks for asking. So we do kind of consider ourselves nature's backyard. We butt up right next to the beautiful Mark Twain National Forest, which is about 1.5 million acres of just pristine government land with trails and streams and lakes. Obviously, we've got Wapapella Lake just right outside of town. We've got Black River that runs right through town. Our college is called Three Rivers College, just because of the three rivers around here. But there's a lot more than three rivers. But man, we're just loaded with we're just right next to the Ozark Scenic Riverways, which was the first nationally designated scenic riverways in the United States. And it hosts a beautiful Current River, which is a spring-fed river fed by one of the largest springs in the world, appropriately named Big Springs. We've got 11 Point River. We've got St. Francis River. We've got Black River, as I mentioned. There's creeks and streams everywhere. There's a Wapapella Lake, as I mentioned before. It's just everywhere you turn, there's waters, forest, and waterways and trails. And we're also big with trails. We connected the Ozark Trail, which is over 400 miles of trail system throughout the Ozark region. So if you're coming into Poplar Bluff, it's really unique because if you're coming from the east or the south, you think, man, where is this national forest? Where are these streams? Because you're just going through a lot of Mississippi Delta flat farmland, and then boom, you hit Poplar Bluff and it just goes wild from there and into nature. So yeah, and you can see on the screen you're showing the historic Rogers Theater, which was built back in the 1950s, and it's actually a theater I grew up watching movies in. There's been a group of people that have really spent a lot of time renovating that. I can't tell from my feed, but the front, show the front marquee messed up. That's all fixed now. The tower's all fixed. It's all lit up.
There it is fixed. Well, the tower's fixed in this picture, but the front bottom
the marquee's fixed now. All the lights are lit up. We have regular shows in there, whether it's bluegrass music or whether it's comedians or magicians or whatever. It's right there in our historic downtown area. I know I see Haffy's on there. I know we're going to have an event there, Haffy's Bar and Grill, which is really nice. We've got a really nice coffee shop down there. Myrtle's Place does an amazing breakfast and lunch. So we're just excited to have everybody in. There are so many options to throw a kayak in and do some fishing. And I do it quite often myself. I won't give my honey hole away, but I'll tell you the Big Creek, which feeds into St. Francis River just north of here, is my favorite little place to kayak and fish and catch some smallies. But a lot of people go on Current River. A lot of people go on Wapapella Lake. There's great places to catch fish. Yeah,
absolutely. So I'm excited. Jake and I, we got a chance to visit with you guys, and we're just blown away. I mean, it's such a beautiful area. The theater was incredible. It seats like 1,000.
Yes.
And you know, man, let's try to get everyone there, the anglers, the community. Maybe we can pack that thing out. That's the biggest theater we're going to in terms of the number of seats. You know, most of the theaters we're visiting are somewhere around 350, 400 to 500, somewhere around there. But yeah, that's the biggest one. So let's see if we can't pack that out. We're holding later on. We're gonna have Josh Boothe from the MoYak kayak series. So we're gonna have a lot of those anglers coming from across the whole, state of Missouri that fish his trail, his local trail there. And I think we can get hundreds at this event. So let's just see if we can't get some more fans and people from the community and pack it out and have a good time. So
yeah, sounds great. We're excited to have you. We've got a crazy year this year. Right before you guys come, the month before you come, we're hosting a Rock the Country Music Festival with Jason Aldean and Kid Rock and several other Hank Williams Jr. So we got a lot of excitement going on this summer, and this adds to it. So really appreciate you guys choosing.
Yeah, man.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, we're excited. I love that downtown area right where Haffy's is. It's got the brick streets, and I know you guys have a project going on to bury all of the power lines too for downtown.
Yes.
How's that going? I mean, is that, and then you're gonna have the string lights up?
We're dealing with government, so it takes a little time. But we got a lot of cool things downtown. We've got our we got a dog park. We got a really nice skateboard park. We've got a huge venue where we host concerts and basketball games. We've got an old train depot down there, an old train museum, and a farm market, and the list goes on and on. So we're excited to have everybody come up and check out our area.
That's cool, man. And we will be, by the way, at opening ceremonies. We'll be, just to kind of give people the rundown, at Haffy's. So we've talked about that. I showed that. So opening ceremonies are at Haffy's. So we're going to hang out here, get you guys all checked in, play some games, have some fun. And then the closing, the after party will be here, I believe, and at the Half Whiskey. I don't think we have any pictures of Half Whiskey. Also, I believe the owners of Haffy's own that place, and it's incredible. I'm just an incredible man. Jake, you love that place, I know for sure. When we visited, we were blown away by the wood, like all the decor inside. It was just a beautiful place.
I mean, I don't even think it was like basically brand new when we walked in. You could still smell like the lacquer on the wood paneling. It was crazy.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite hangout places. I really like that place. People go in there and they feel like they're not in a small rural community. They feel like they're in Nashville or something. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So I love it. Can't wait for you guys to see it and venture with us at Ozarkana. And I have something on the site that I think could come into play. I know Haffy's has that stage and the karaoke and all that going on there. So there's a chance, guys, we could do kayak karaoke. If people have enough fun, drink enough, who knows how late it gets? I don't know. It might be interesting. A little kayak karaoke there at Haffy's at the after party. So
I can assure you I will not be participating.
We'll see, man. If you're there, you don't ever know what's going to happen. You start getting nudged by everybody. People start bringing a few drinks. I mean,
there's not enough drinks there for the other people in attendance to be able to tolerate my singing. I can assure you of that.
Yeah. All right. Well, we will still have a good time with you. We'll see you at the after party, I'm sure, and all the fun festivities at the theater. Wherever you can help, you can join us for that weekend. We'd love to have you and celebrate. And just, these are the 6 biggest parties of the year for the kayak fishing community. That's our goal, right? Just to have fun. Yeah, there's a tournament. It's competitive, but we're just there to have fun. There's no better place to have fun, trust me, than Poplar Bluff, because we've been there. Jake and I, we were blown away, and it pains me to think that anybody out there watching or listening to any of these, preview shows is going to possibly miss even one of these events, because I'm like, how could anyone miss this? Like, once you've seen the theater and the after party locations and the opening ceremonies locations and the water, it's like, I just don't want anyone to miss any of them. So this is definitely one of those. We'll see you there. And thanks for all of your help and support. You guys have been great. And if there's anything else you want to mention before we let you go?
Just looking forward to it. I think that for people that haven't been to our area, they're going to come over here and they're going to fall in love with it. So I challenge everyone to not miss that stop and come see us. I think also you mentioned a lot of positive things I appreciate about our community, but the one we're probably most proud of is we just have a really big, caring, friendly community. And I think people are going to welcome all of our guests with open arms. So looking forward to it. Really looking forward to it.
Thanks, Steve. I appreciate it, man. We'll see you there.
Okay. Take care.
All right. Bye. So another thing, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, check this out. So he was talking about if you're coming from the east. So this is like, we're not telling Jake anything he doesn't know, but So this is like 50 miles east, and then you head across, and then look what happened.
You just see the mountains.
It's basically
Wow.
like the two sides of the river, right? So like the Mississippi, where the bluffs are on my side, is the eastern side boundary, and then to the west of the Mississippi, you get the western floodplain. And basically, before we dammed it up, this was the floodplain for the Mississippi, right? So like all this land is super fertile. It's flat. It's farmland. It's been, ancient times,
right,
that carved out all these mountains from like erosion and stuff like that. And as soon as you hit Poplar Bluff, that's the Ozarks. That's the forest. That's like that's where you're going to catch your smallmouth. The smallmouth tend to get less abundant as you go east in Missouri. They're there in some parts of it because it does kind of like jut up a little bit where the river bends by St. Louis, but then there's just like a dead zone. It's like then you get into largemouth territory, and then you get into like the Highland Reservoir territory, stuff like that. So
now it's gonna be interesting. We'll talk even more about that with the anglers later, but I can't wait for this event to see how it's won. That's one of the most intriguing things of all the events. This is the one that I'm like, I don't know. Like I personally I feel like I'd be sucked into wanting to fish the pretty blue rivers in the Ozarks, but this isn't about this isn't like how beautiful water did you fish today. This is how long of a fish did you catch today. So you might need to go to the floodplain or to Duck Creek Conservation Area, which looks totally different. Looks like you're in Louisiana, the cypress trees and the vegetation and pads, or the floodplain, rivers that are murkier. You might need to go there to catch largemouth to win it. To come, I don't know. It's going to be crazy. We'll talk about it with the anglers, but let's get Travis Randall on now. I believe he's up next with Eco Fishing Shop. Travis, what's up, bud?
What's up, fellas?
Not too much. You look how professional this guy is. The studio. I mean, it's almost like you do a podcast, and it's almost like Jake and I were just on that yesterday. But
yes, sir.
Oh yeah, I saw Bill. There you, Billy.
Couldn't help it.
Yeah, he's kind of a big deal for sure. No, but hey, thanks for your time, Travis. You're with Eco Fishing Shop. You guys sell about as many kayaks as anyone out there. Around the whole country. It's pretty remarkable. But you're in Missouri, and we are heading to Poplar Bluff, Missouri. So, you're Old Town dealer, one of the biggest. So we figured we want to have you guys a part of this event. Typically what we do, just so everyone knows, the closest dealers to the event itself, right, that carry any of the manufacturers that support the Kayak Adventure Series, get a phone call from us and say, hey, here's what we got going on. You guys want to come bring some demos, sell some boats, just show some off at the festival. And you guys were excited about that, and we are too. So looking forward to seeing you guys there. But yeah, tell us a little bit about Eco and what you guys do over there.
So Eco has been around for 4 or 5 years as an e-commerce company. Our kind of claim to fame is the ability to ship kayaks nationwide, free shipping on most brands. There are some shipping on few that the manufacturers require, but so we kind of do it a little different. We protect the kayaks a little more, and our damage rates are really low. So, you can have a kayak to show up on your doorstep. It's been wildly successful. We ship anywhere in the lower 48 free. We ship to Alaska and Hawaii for $350, and that's a little unheard of. And we do ship quite a bit up there. But then we put a storefront here in Lake of the Ozarks, Missouri, a little over 2 years ago. It's been great. We've actually started carrying several other brands besides Old Town. We're, a Hobie dealer, and New Canoe and Feel Free and Wilderness Systems, and, several different brands. But we were able to build out one of the largest actual storefronts in the country that we do fishing kayaks only. That's our game. That's what we do. And we do builds. We do, we have customer service that work people through builds. We're a Garmin dealer. So it's just kind of what we do. We really want to focus on being a resource to the kayak angler, whether you're just getting started or whether you've, a pioneer. Jeff Little from Boondocks, formerly Torquedo, was here yesterday, and we talked about this quite a bit. That just being a resource to anybody in that wants to get involved in our sport.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, man. You guys are great. Appreciate the support. Can't wait to see you guys there. I know now you've got a podcast, as you guys can see, hooked right there in the background there. A podcast that Jake and I, we were on yesterday, and I don't know if it comes live. It goes live maybe later this week or something. But you guys should go check that out and listen to the one that Jake and I did. We talk about this event a little bit further with you guys there. And obviously, we're going to talk about this event, throughout the whole show here today. But that was a really good podcast with you guys. Some good banter, some good conversation. And you guys, do it very professionally and do it right. So you guys check that out. Check that podcast out. And you guys have an incredible event you put on, a big tournament kind of in your region of the country that people travel all over. I mean, to come fish it. It's explain what that event is. And I know you don't have the dates yet, but it's usually, I think, late October, November. But explain that, because we want to try to help you guys get more people there too.
Yeah, buddy. The Big Bass 250 is something we started 2 years ago. Last year was our second season of it. And what it is just a completely open tournament. It's at Lake of the Ozarks. And you know what? We were kind of in the same thought process of what you guys, and that's why we're so excited to be part of what you guys are doing with the Kayak Adventure Series, is kind of getting a little bit back to the community side of fishing, still competitive, but we do a $10,000 big bass. So anybody who wants to get in it, it's an open tournament. We try to avoid all the other series, but it's an open tournament on Lake of the Ozarks. One fish, 10 grand. Everybody's got a shot. We also do best 5 fish, and those payouts are large as well. And usually we have anywhere from $45,000 to $60,000 worth of just product that we just give away. Last year, I think we had 6 or 7 kayaks that were part of that. We've given away completely decked out new canoe unlimiteds with a Torpedo and full setup ready to go, full setup boats. And what we do is we have the tournament. It's a Saturday, 1-day tournament. But then after the tournament, we have a full meal catered, and people come in. We have a bar. If you want to have a drink, you can have a drink, and you can just hang out. And we start doing the giveaways, and then we do the awards banquet. And it's just a celebration of the angler. It's at the end of the year so that they can kind of come up. And Chris Longshore at Nebraska last year came up and had never been in it before and took home a pocket full of cash. And the year before that, it was a more local guy, Chad Davidson. And it was just very cool event. And like I said, we really want to make it about the anglers and giving back.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's incredible event you guys are doing. So sounds a lot like the Kayak Adventure Series. Like, we talked about in your podcast yesterday. It really is very similar, our mindset, which is why I think we're going to work so well together. Speaking of Torpedo, they're a Kayak Adventure Series sponsor. You guys have plenty of those, I'm sure. If you guys want to bring those to demo for people that have never hopped in a kayak with a Torpedo, this could be your chance. Show up to this event there at Poplar Bluff, and the actual, the water is like a couple blocks away from the festival. So we'll probably figure out a way to have like a shuttle driver just driving people over to test out boats over there. And we'll have someone stands at the festival as well, but then you can hop in the shuttle right over there and test one out, or walk over there if you want to walk. I mean, but just a few blocks away. So, all right, man, we can't wait to see you guys there. And Jake, you got any other thoughts on Eco? You've been representing them for a while, or any comments about this whole thing before we let Travis go and bring in the next guest?
No, I think what they're doing is pretty cool. I mean, the fact that you can get a kayak shipped to your door is, kind of a game changer. But I think at the same time, they also, I know Travis will echo this, that they say if you can buy local, do that. I think they're just really wanting to see the sport grow. And I think they're doing a really good job of that. So
no, that's cool, man. Yeah, but I mean, you guys, something like this is necessary because there's just not a good specialty, independently owned kayak fishing shop in everyone's town. There's not. So, I know Poplar Bluff's one of those places you got to go a little ways to find a good shop, really. So we'll, man, appreciate what you guys do. And I cannot wait to see you at the event yourself and maybe some of the rest of your staff if they show up. I don't know who's coming from Eco, but we can't wait to have a good time with you guys, party, celebrate. And I know you said you have an addiction in a joking way. It's definitely a joke, but you're gonna have a few drinks there at the after party and have some fun, and maybe we'll get you on stage to do kayak karaoke. Maybe Travis, maybe.
Unlike your last guest, there most likely is enough alcohol to get me on that stage. So we'll have to see what happens. But man, we're really excited to be part of the event. We're gonna come with guns blazing. as far as, Old Town, and we may throw it to Torquedo and a few toys on. So, we can work together on that, figuring out what'll work. But yeah, we're really excited about it, and we appreciate the opportunity. If anybody's interested, you can go on ecofishingshop.com and kind of look through what we have. Give me or Jonathan Dominguez a call here at any time with any questions you have.
All right. Thanks so much, guys. Catch you later.
See you, buddy.
See you. All right. Moving on. By the way, Billy, I know he's still here. He is going to be heading out around 11:55, but we will, run the show. Jake, you and I can run this show. We got it. Billy heads off here.
I think we'll be all right.
Yeah, we'll be all right. We'll be able to pull it off. But let's bring on the next several guests. We've got a lot coming in here. We're actually going to talk about the fishing now, a little bit more about the fishing, the strategies, kind of break some of this water down. Let's bring on Brandon and Jake. And sorry, not me or Jake. Brandon and Ryan. Let's see. Got him right here. Brandon, Ryan, what's up, guys? What are you up? Wait, you're on the water?
We are on the water, y'all.
That's cool, man. You guys are messing around. Are you actually on water that's inbound for this event? Testing it out, trying to get a little feel?
We're not that cool, but
absolutely not. No.
We are trout fishing today.
They are in autopilots, which is...
We are in autopilot today.
It's on brand for this episode.
That is on brand. I can see that. That's pretty cool. All right, so are you guys at the same place?
Yeah.
Yep. I'm right behind Brandon right now.
All right, this date was planned. All right, I got you. Oh, that's cool, man. Well, I hope that'd be incredible if you guys hook up while we're live. That'd be some incredible stuff right there. So
well, he's got hands free.
Yeah, he's got hands free.
Yeah, I failed to plan, but
well, that's all right. You just need to soak something down deep. Just sit there and shake it for a while, and
it is winter after all.
That sounded really bad. All right, but yeah, it is. That's right. Well, you guys, so Dust Off Fishing, Brandon, you guys give him a follow at Dust Off Fishing. One of the best follows out there for sure. I know you're going to be at the event. You're excited about it. And Ryan, you guys know Ryan as the real yak dragger, which I always thought is funny because, you're in all this fancy, motorized, and you got autopilot.
He doesn't care.
Yeah, you're not really dragging as many yaks as it seems like your handle would, but you don't care. Yeah, you just drag.
I've seen him drag.
Well,
I've seen him.
And the funny thing is, I drag this autopilot a lot more than people think.
Hey, it's light enough. It is light. I mean, it's not like these things aren't draggable, over and around stuff.
Yeah.
And they're.
You still light up at the Susquehanna. I mean, we were dragging through some shallow waters up there.
Yeah, you absolutely were.
So it can drag. So it's one of those you gotta kind of decide what you'd rather fight. And I'd rather have the spot lock capabilities and deal with an autopilot than something super light that I'm never going to be able to stay in the current.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Now, you guys are fishing the event. You're excited about it. And we're going to bring some other anglers on. We're going to talk about the water. If you guys want, I don't know, we can probably mute or can you mute yourself when you're using your phone?
Yeah.
You can.
Yeah.
So if for some, you got one?
Uh-oh.
I don't know what I got. It might be a rock.
It's a stick.
Oh, okay.
I don't like a bite, but I'm pretty sure it's a snag. But yeah, we can mute our mics right here.
All right. If you think it's going to be loud, do that while I bring the other anglers on, and then we'll get into talking about some, some of the water that's in bounds. We'll show a map and all that fun stuff. I wanted to bring Josh on if he's on here. Is he in the? I don't know if
No,
he's
I don't
on
see
yet.
him on yet.
Josh isn't on yet. Okay, so we'll just get into some of the water right now. Actually, someone should maybe message Josh because Josh Boothe from MoYak. Well, he knows. He's already been in here at the green room earlier. He's been in, so he knows it's Eastern time we're going by. So when he gets in here, we will add him to the stream. But let's talk about the water. So let's bring up. Maybe I can share my screen here. Share screen.
There's Josh.
Oh, he's on. All right, I can add him in. You can pull one of us out if we need to.
No,
hey guys.
Fine.
What's up, Josh with the MoYak?
What up, Josh?
Morning.
Morning. You want to tell the folks a little bit about MoYak and what you guys got going on with the joint event that you guys are holding in conjunction with the Kayak Adventure Series event?
Yeah, absolutely. MoYak is proud to be joining up with you guys. We're going to be heading out east.
Yep. I've got you linked here, by the way. I'm showing your Tourney X page is already live for the MoYak event, so you guys can register for that. It's the Poplar Bluff Roadrunner.
Yep, that's right. You can find out everything on Tourney X. We've got everything linked up there. Registration is already open. We're looking at. We should have some pretty good numbers.
Yeah, absolutely. I think so. I mean, you guys always have good numbers, and for whatever reason, I was sharing. I'm just sharing my tabs. When I click on register, you guys didn't see it, but the Tourney X page will come up. You can register for the MoYak Kayak Series joint event, which, Josh, you get good turnouts, and someone walks away with a lot of money. If you add in a Kayak Adventure Series event that the individual is $150, right? Then someone enters that. They enter the team division, which is $75 a piece, and the MoYak. What's your entry fee for MoYak?
Our trail series is $58, but we also have a 2-man event going on at the same time too. So you could technically do all 4 if you wanted to.
Yeah, there's a
You
lot.
could clean house.
You could clean house for sure, no doubt about it. And someone's definitely walking away with 5 figures at pretty much all these events. So that's exciting stuff here. But Josh, you're an angler, and that's why we wanted to bring you on with the other anglers so we can talk a little bit about the water that's in bounds. You've had events over there, but typically you guys do a Wapapello, or you do, like something that's not the Roadrunner like this. Like, doesn't have this much water in bounds. So let's talk about the water that's in bounds, and actually let me share my screen to the proper one that I need to be sharing here with you guys. Give me a second. We'll talk about some of this water. And then,
yeah, it's a really beautiful place out there in eastern Missouri. Like he mentioned earlier, the Ozark mountain forests that are there. There's just no man's land. You can just go down that river and just disappear on all of them. So it's a really beautiful place. It really is.
Yeah, even Wapapello is kind of underrated because a lot of people think it's like a mud pit, but the reality is it's a very diverse fishery. I know when we fished it in August for MoYak, it was a grind in the sense that it was hot and there was a lot of bugs. But that being said, the winning limit was in the 90s. So like it produced, and there were some big fish caught. It's just you got to know what you're doing out there.
Yeah, they're in there.
They're in there. And Jake, you brought up a good point yesterday that you guys can hear on that podcast we did that'll be live with the Eco guys. A lot of guys you said were way further up, looking for some cooler water and the rivers.
Yeah.
And the point and why this got brought up in the stream was just the fact that I feel like some people feel like this is going to be, river bassin 2.0, you know what I mean? And all of a sudden everyone's just going to fish rivers, and it's going to be how it's going to be. But the thing is, if everyone's in the rivers and creeks, then guess what? Guess where they're not?
Right.
In the lakes. So if someone actually feels that way,
and the winning bag,
anglers,
the winning bag came from down there by the dam. Like they were fishing a more stationary style, whereas I would say like 70% of the field in that tournament was in the river arm. Because the St. Francis flows down into Wapello and creates essentially the lake. But the further north you go towards the river, it's more river like. There's a lot of islands and stuff like that. And I have some clips we can show at some point. But it's a really interesting lake, and I've always liked it because it just fishes very uniquely.
Yeah, it's a good lake for sure. I've seen some bags at 29 pounds. It's won events in the spring, so they're in there for sure. And we don't really care about the weight; we just need the length. So even if we're spawned out in early July here, I think it's going to be a good event. I think we can get.
I mean, look at that one.
Potentially, that's a nice one.
That's a 21.5 inch. I mean, wasn't even 4 pounds. It was 4 pounds, like 4 and some change. But it's a 21.5 inch summer bass right there in the river arm of Wapapello. Unfortunately, it was during practice, which is
always happens.
How it goes. But
yeah,
and the crazy thing about that lake is they eat topwater 24/7. It could be 90 degrees, 95-degree water temperature, and they're still smashing topwater. So
yeah, it's going to be good. I think 100 inches is possible at this event when you consider the lakes that are in bounds. Let's look at some other ones real quick, guys. And you guys can watch a preview video. If you go on the website, you can go on the kayakadventureseries.com, click on the Poplar Bluff event, and you can actually see all this water, this interactive map for yourself. So this right here is, you guys can see my cursor, right, on when I share the screen.
Mm-hmm.
So this is Wapapello. Okay, that's one of the lakes that's in bounds. We also have this Mingo Wilderness that's in bounds. That's pretty cool. It's a whole gigantic just wilderness.
It's sloughs, basically. Yeah.
National refuge, and any part of that you can get to that's on the public, this public is legal, and it's more like you're saying, sloughs. Like there's even boat ramps on it, and it's more like it's a lake, but it's flat water. I don't know anything about it really, other than there's definitely bass there. I can't say anything more than that really, but the Duck Creek Conservation Area, you can look up information there. I know it's got great fishing as well. People have talked about it being a sleeper. So that's the other flat water location we have. And the last one is up here, Clearwater Lake. Clearwater Lake, you can definitely see it's bluer and cleaner water. That's made by the Black River. And of course, the Black River is one of the rivers in bounds. It comes out of the lake and heads down to Poplar Bluff, right through the Poplar Bluff downtown right there. And then, of course, we talked about earlier, gets into your floodplain in the Mississippi River. And eventually we have a boundary down here. All of our red dots on our interactive map are the downstream launch boundaries for the rivers. The river to the farthest to the west right here, you can see, is the Current River. And that one's boundary is way up here, but that's the one that Steve talked about earlier, floating 100 and something miles on the Current River. So it's more your Ozarky blue color, right? I mean, it's just beautiful through the mountains. And but at some
it's
point,
definitely the most popular.
Is it? Okay.
It's going to get. I will say, from like a experience standpoint, that'll be the one where you'll see the most boat traffic. You get a lot of floaters on that one as well.
Yeah, Saturday afternoon there'll be a lot of people floating, but only in certain stretches that are in between some of those big resorts.
Right.
You can still get away from the crowds on there. I mean, the Current's a big river. So is the Black.
The Current could be a play where you fish it Friday for that evening bite.
Yeah, maybe. And then the other one is the Lower St. Francis River. It actually makes Wapapello and then flows out of Wapapello. So the Lower St. Francis, as you can see here. And these are all your core bodies of water. Anything free flowing into these lakes or rivers that are listed here is good to go. So you guys can fish those. And then we also have the Castor River. There's an upper and lower Castor River. And this is kind of the upper, looks like it's kind of smaller, like a creek almost. It's pretty small. You can see this upper Castor River here. So, and then
amazing smallmouth fishery.
Yep. So it's
a wild one. If you want to chase the wild, there you go.
And do a lot of walking.
Yeah, they'll definitely, you don't want an autopilot on that one. You're gonna want like a Crescent Primo or a Shoaly or something like
that. Yeah.
But waters like that, you can get into areas where they're not very heavily pressured, and the fish don't see many lures, and that's what I like to look for when I'm heading out on trips like that. So that's definitely one to keep in mind for sure.
Yeah. So what do you guys think here? You got good largemouth fisheries. You got good smallmouth fisheries. You even have, Jake, you were telling me how big even the spotted bass get. These aren't Alabama spotted bass. These are your normal northern strain spotted bass, but you're telling me they get, you're catching them 17 inches pretty regularly. So they could be a player. This event, I mean, there's no telling how it's going to get won between that murkier kind of floodplain water and lakes, river water and lakes and sloughs, but also your, higher elevation, cooler, clear water, smallmouthy. I mean, it's a toss up, man. I don't know how it's going to get won. It's going to be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, you'd also keep in mind too that all three of those species are located pretty much everywhere. You can catch a 21-inch largemouth floating on the Current River. There's largemouth in there with the smallmouth. You're gonna catch bass in all these rivers too. So you don't have to go to Wapapello to catch largemouth. I mean, yeah, of course you're going to catch a lot more smallies, floating the creeks, but there's largemouth in there too, and you might even catch some spots in there occasionally too.
Yeah, St. Francis is great in the sense that all three species, you get giant in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my personal best came out of a very small river here in the Ozarks, so largemouth. So you can catch big largemouth here. There's 7-pounders up here in the James River. So I mean, you got to bring all your tools in a tool bag because you got all 3 species available to you for sure.
Yep. I've heard of 8s being caught out of the St. Francis, so they're in there.
Dang. That's a 22,
And I mean,
23.
in my opinion, like the St. Francis has some of the biggest spotted bass. Now, I know a lot of people kind of poo-poo spotted bass, and these aren't the Alabama spotted bass, which I know you just mentioned. They are Kentucky's. So anything you get over like 16 inches, you're starting to look at a really big spotted bass. And I've caught a couple over 18 in the St. Francis. So,
yeah. So do you guys think, I mean, I feel like it's possible to hit 100. It's not going to be easy. I think this stop is probably the one maybe you're looking at in your 90s to win, but I think 100 is definitely possible with the fish that are out there. When you consider day and a half format, Friday for 4 hours and that many anglers, like somebody, you start getting into hundreds of anglers at events, somebody's probably going to land on close to 100. But does that seem, Ryan and Brandon, what do you guys think? You think it's possible getting 100 here?
Yeah. I mean, it's possible. Is it a long shot? Yeah, it's definitely a long shot. I think you're going to look more at that 93 range on a day and a half range. But Josh was just talking about this yesterday on the MoYak podcast. Was that it was done in a single day up on Truman 2 years ago? Was that 3 years ago? Actually, I think. It's possible. It's just very unlikely.
I think the State River Championship I fished had 88 as the winning bag, but it was a day. So, I do agree with Ryan. I think we're probably more realistically, I'm not going to say it's impossible like he said, but I would say maybe like 92, 90, 93 would be a good mark.
I agree with that too.
Probably. I mean, the only thing that's the little wild card is that we've got some rivers and lakes that have probably really never been in play before, and who knows what's there. You know what I mean? I don't know. Could be a little bit.
I think the wild card will be finding the multi-species bite, because you're probably not going to catch 5 20-inch smallmouths. It's doable, and I wouldn't be shocked if someone did it. But I think the person that finds like that big 21-inch largemouth kicker with some good 19-inch smallmouth, that's going to be where you see the big bags. Like I don't think you're going to go out and necessarily catch 5 largemouth unless like you're on wild pillow. But I think someone floating the river who somehow strings together a good limit of multi-species could have a chance to push into those mid 90s. Because I mean, last time I floated the St. Francis, I had a multi-species bag, and I think it was in 92, 93. So
you definitely need a largemouth kicker for that. I'm not gonna I would be shocked if somebody caught 5 20-inch smallmouth. I think that's like an 18-year-old fish. So
yeah, the master in Missouri is 18, so anything over 18 is
18 and 3 pounds.
Yeah, I think you're going to have to watch for Clearwater to win it, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I fished rivers for 3 years, and I've caught 3 20s in 3 years. So I'm not special by any means. I'm no Drew Gregory, but I gotta think that if somebody catches 5 20s in a day, they need to get out of the boat. They need to go to the gas station and buy a lottery ticket and play.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the thing that I think is going to be interesting is because what you guys are saying, I'm curious what you guys think about this. Kayak Adventure Series with that Friday 4-hour afternoon session. It gives you a chance to go somewhere different, and it gives you a chance to do 2 things. One, you could go, let me just go get my limit, you know what I mean? And just get secure and feel good about the limit if I can in 4 hours, right? And then I'm going to go hunt for bigs all on Saturday. Or what I think a lot of people are going to do is the opposite potentially. It's like, let me go, and I don't even care if I don't catch a fish on Friday. I'm just hunting that one largemouth, that jump for 4 hours, focusing on that big kicker fish to just go ahead and get 1 or 2 of those fish I like to call them fish of significance. Whenever you catch a fish in a tournament that's is going to end up on your final 5, that's a fish of significance. So they're going to look for that fish of significance on Friday. I think some people might go and try that because less pressure in somebody's water on a weekday, and they're pretty confident they can get 5, on Saturday. Plus, of course, if they catch any on Friday, they'll count. So what do you guys think about that? Is that a reasonable strategy for people to try to just swing for the fence before they get 5 and just on day 1 on the 4 hours on Friday?
Sounds pretty solid to me. I mean, that's probably what I might do if I was competing in it, would be to use that evening to target, a big largemouth somewhere on one of the lakes, and then spend the next day floating the river, catching a bunch of fish. And, even though we mentioned earlier, you may not catch 520s, but you catch a 15 or 16-inch smallmouth in these creeks, and it fights like a monster.
Yep.
I mean, they are strong fish, and you can have a blast just catching 12 to 15-inch smallies on these creeks all day long. Even if you're not winning money, you can still have a great time. I just want to throw that in there before I forgot.
Well, can you catch 5-inch smallies?
Yeah.
For the microback.
I think the way that I would want to go about it, and I've kind of thought about this already, was you can use Friday night to what you're saying is chasing the big one, but the evening bite can be so good for big baits. So you could be hitting the big lake with a glide bait. Midsummer, that evening bite can be so good for that, and then go hit a river for a nice friendly float on Friday or on Saturday, I mean, and then you still have a good chance at catching plenty of largemouth and smallmouth, depending on which river you're on.
Yeah.
I mean, if it was me having fished these rivers and understanding like how most of these lakes fish, I know that what I would be doing is I would go to a river section that I knew had potential for a big smallmouth, and I would be throwing topwater for 4 hours. And I know that seems crazy, but like truthfully, like the evening bite on the rivers as that sun's starting to dip low, they've been in the heat all day. Those smallmouth get a little bit more aggressive because they know those eagles aren't around. They know that those egrets aren't as active as the sun dips down, and they're willing to go after the topwater. And I mean, those smallmouth, they hit those whopper ploppers, those buzz baits, spooks, whatever. They hit them so aggressively in the evening, and I think that's personally what I would do. I would probably be more apt to fish still water in a whole day, because sometimes that takes more time to figure out if you're fishing a tournament. It's like you need a little bit more than 4 hours sometimes. Sometimes they don't turn on. Whereas the river, like you've got that 4-hour stretch in the evening. You're like, okay, I know they're going to be active. It's a river. Sun's going down. That's what I would do. However, it just depends. Like, maybe that bite's not there. For some reason, topwater is not a thing, which let me be honest, I would be shocked if they're not eating topwater during this event. I would be shocked.
Yeah. Shout out, by the way, to Morgan McIntosh from Poplar Bluff Chamber as well, tuning in from Poplar Bluff. So thanks for all your help, Morgan. You guys have been awesome. Can't wait to see you there. You guys, this strategy conversation is something that I keep, again, I'm not fishing the events, obviously, and I keep going back and forth on, because all this talk about, I'm going to use Friday to fish the lake because it might be more pressure on Saturday. I'm going to fish Friday to do like, I can't do a long float, so I'm going to go do something shorter and single access. What was that? Oh, I was like, they forgot to mute themselves. But I think that in my brain as a tournament angler, someone out there is not wanting me to say this, I'm sure. I'm now thinking, because all that talk, we've talked so much about that, and people said, yeah, that's a good idea, that's a good strategy, about the opposite. Well, I'm going to go do a long float. We got 30-minute window before potentially I could do a long float on Friday, longer than most people would, because now I feel like I'm going to have it to myself. You know what I mean? Like if it's an 8-mile float, I'm going to paddle motor 2 miles first, fish this section in the middle, in that 4-hour window, fish a few miles, and then motor out. There's no time you got to be off the water. So the more we talk about this and the more we start revealing and discussing these strategies, my tournament angler brain is thinking, well, if everyone's going to be doing that, maybe I'm going to go zag when they zig, and do the opposite, because I'll be the first to get to a section that most people are going to avoid because it's just too long. So it could work, so
I think you'll see a lot of people in the lake in Wapello. I think that I don't think that's wrong. I think that Wapello is like, if you've got something figured out there, you could spend your 12 hours of tournament time at Wapello, and that's fine, But
well, I want to talk a little Duck Creek and bring James Faught in here from the Midwest Kayak Company. I know he's kind of on that side of our boundary. So there he is. What's up, James? How's it going,
What's up, guys? It's
Hey,
going
James.
good. Hi. Hey, how's it going, Josh? So listen to the strategy. That was pretty interesting, actually, because now it's got my wheels turning for what to do. And I love catching smallmouth, like Josh said, catching those big smallmouth or even smallmouth in river systems. They fight so good. This thing's fun for me. You know what I mean? I don't think that I'm going to go out there and win this tournament. I just want to go have fun. I want to meet some people that I don't normally get to see. And that's what's important to me. But I think my strategy is going to be looking for a kicker on Friday. I want to try to catch a 20 plus on Friday. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do about that yet, but I want to try to get that out of the way. And then I might get one of my small boats, and I might float a river with a couple of buddies on Saturday and spend some time doing that. I just want to have fun with it. And, there are big fish in every one of these bodies of water. Every river that we have has big fish. Every lake in this system has big fish. Wapapello has put up some incredibly large boat tournament bags. The kayak stuff, I've caught some big fish at Wapapello. Clearwater is kind of one of those lakes that not a lot of people talk about, but I've got a buddy that fishes boat tournaments and like the Costa series are used to, and he has caught lots of 6-7 pound fish out of Clearwater, lots of long fish out of Clearwater, which is what matters for a kayak. So
I think Clearwater is kind of one of the sleepers, to be honest. And I talked about this on the Eco Fishing podcast, and I had to be careful because there's a time of year and there's like an area of that lake that produces some fish that a lot of people wouldn't expect to come out of there, is really what I'll say. But it's a sleeper good lake, but it's small, so it's kind of a gamble, because it's totally possible that if you went to somewhere like Clearwater and 8 other people decided to go to that same spot, you're fishing right up against someone. So with so much water inbound, though, like
you lost one. Yeah, I was watching. Yeah, I really want to see a fish being caught.
You got to work on that hook set.
He's fishing.
Yeah, I had him at the boat. I just couldn't get it in. It came out of the water, threw the hook right next to me.
Was it a trout?
Yeah, it was a trout. It was a decent one. It's probably 14 inches.
I gotcha. Well, James, tell us about the Midwest Kayak Company. You guys are new. You're just on the complete opposite side of where the eco guys are. You're more like on the border, really, with Illinois, if I'm correct. But tell us a little bit about it. You're very new, and I know you're going to be at the event. You carry a lot of the products that sponsor the Kayak Adventure Series, and maybe picking up some new lines of kayaks that you'll have there as well.
Yep.
So I'm pretty excited about that. So tell us about the Midwest Kayak Company, because you're probably the closest, honestly, independent kayak shop to the event.
Yeah. So it's kind of interesting how I got into it. I bought a hammerhead kayak about a year and a half ago, and the guy told me when I bought it, and this is in Mobile, Alabama, that's where they're located. He said, you need to have a dealership up in Missouri, because I get calls from up that way all the time. You need to have a dealership. And I was like, not interested. And 6-7 months ago, I was like, you know what? I'm going to kick that idea around a little bit. And I sold 15 kayaks from the end of August till the 1st of October. And I was like, okay, well, maybe this is going to work. So let's pursue this a little bit. So started going down the road, started fishing, kayak tournaments. And I don't think I did any MoYak. I did a couple of monthlies of MoYak, but I fished a KMO tournament at Wapapello. And then my home club actually is Southern Illinois Kayak Club, just because all those tournaments are closer for me. Josh, everything's just too far away. I want to fish more of it, but it's just too hard to get out to those lakes. But
it's a big state.
It is a big state. But anyway, going down that road, I thought, well, let's open this kayak shop. Let's see what happens. And, ended up getting a Yak Attack vendorship, Yak Gadget. We've got a few other accessories. Yak rods is going to be something I'm going to carry. I've been with them actually since I started kind of this journey of fishing tournaments. But
nice.
it's we actually have a storefront. We have a few kayaks in stock right now. I got off the phone. I just got off the phone just right before this live stream with Cully from Crescent, and I've sent everything off. And
cool.
Now we're just trying to figure out what to do. By the time we get to the Poplar Bluff stop, we will have probably a couple of Crescents to bring down for people to look at if anybody's interested. I'm excited about the partnership because the kayaks that I sell now are pedal drive specifically, and Crescent is paddle power.
Yeah, it's perfect fit.
Yeah. So I needed that to kind of fill the gap for all of our river systems and things like that, because most of the kayaks that I sell now, they're really not, they don't lend their hand toward river fishing and things like that. So
right, yeah.
That's
you guys,
a little bit about it.
Yeah, where you get located? What's the name of the town again?
Cape Girardeau or Jackson.
Girardeau. Okay,
the shop
Cape
is
Girardeau.
actually in Jackson. I live in Cape, but it's all the same town. They're right here
Same
together.
town. Okay, well, you guys that are stopping by, stop by on your way down to the event. He's right there. And I guess let's keep talking fishing a little bit. Some more fish strategy.
Yeah.
Jake, you had some pictures or videos. Maybe you want to even pull up just so people can get a little bit of an idea of what some of the water looks like. Obviously, we're seeing some water. Well, Ozark water with Ryan right now, but if you want to pull some of those up, we'll keep talking about the strategy because I really am just think about it. If you wanted to frog and flip and punch, you can go do that at like Duck Creek, and then if you wanted to, it's just crazy to me that in one tournament, this is kind of a new sport, a new game that we've created with Kayak Adventure Series, being more of a, Josh, you're familiar like a Roadrunner style, but when you include the lakes, and the different kind of lakes and the rivers and the creeks, it's just kind of like this cool sport that's just embodies the kayak, what the kayak can do. It can go out in the middle of Wapapello with live scope and an Old Town and a power pole and a hummingbird and whatever else you want to put on it. And you can smash bass that way. And somebody will. It can also go, you can take a Crescent or, smaller lightweight or RVR or whatever you got, or an inflatable, and just go to a creek with a few rods and it can just crush fish there. That's the beauty of the kayak. And that's why we're trying to make sure that with our rule set, we can highlight every style and every way that you can catch fish in a kayak, because everybody's different, they have different personality and different style that they prefer. So let's just get them all together and have a big mashup and see what comes out. And hopefully the top 10 is littered with, I was in Wapapello, I was in Clearwater, I was in St. Francis, I was in the Black, I was at Duck Creek. It's like, that's the goal. We'd love for it to be super diverse like that. And I think it will be.
I do too.
Yep. I think it will be for sure. And James, you said you've seen some pretty big fish caught out of some waters on your side of, the boundaries. And I mean, you say some pretty big ones, and we've talked privately 20, 21, 22s, like 20. I mean, that kind of size. I mean, big.
Yeah. Yeah. Some of, Duck Creek is one of those places that it is a pretty challenging body of water to fish. I fished the Thursday night derby, boat derby in that lake probably 7 or 8 times last year, and fished in my kayak a few times. It is a beautiful lake. I go there sometimes. I don't even care if I catch a fish. It's pretty. If you get there early in the morning or late in the evening, sun setting, rising, it is absolutely beautiful. And there are some monster fish in that place. It is just a very difficult place to catch fish because there are no coves, there are no points, there's no bottom structure, there's no dynamic. It is literally a big flat rectangle full of grass and pads, lily pads, dollar pads, cypress trees, stumps, laydowns. It's got everything in it. So those fish use that. And a lot of the fish that I've caught in Duck Creek have been throwing something that I could rip through grass and like a punching rig, or throwing a real light swim jig and just kind of pulling it across the top of the pads and letting it fall. I've caught some good fish that way. One other cool thing about Duck Creek, and I'm not trying to pump Duck Creek up, so I don't want anybody to be swayed by what I say, because it could be one anywhere, but this is a lake that's very cool and interesting. Duck Creek, there's a lot of times where the pickerel bite is really, really, really good. So you get this fish, slam it, and you think, okay, here's the one, and it'll be a 2 foot long pickerel, fun to catch, slimy, hard to deal with. But that might be something cool to offer, Drew, like a little, a little side thing. If who's got the biggest pickerel, you just have to have a board to measure, because they get pretty big. But
hey, man, I'm game. You want to? Yeah, let's put up a prize from Midwest Kayak Company. Just something small, something simple, biggest pickerel, and we'll get you presenting that on stage to somebody who gets the biggest pickerel. Remind me when we get closer to that event. We'll kind of announce it, because I think most people catching pickerel, I could be wrong, but most of them will probably be there, or some of those. I mean, I'm sure they're in the clear rivers in the Ozarks too.
It
but
varies.
I think prominent in that Duck Creek.
They're more
Mingo Wilderness.
They're more common, I think, on the western side in the south, and then in that area. They don't really get in a lot of the. I mean, you might see some on some of the southern stretches of the river, but I think they technically call them grass pickerel, right?
Grass pickerel,
yeah. So
I can see Duck Creek being an option for 4-hour afternoon session on Friday for somebody. Just choosing that. It seems like. Honestly, if this was me, if I'm fishing these terms, I would, if I was going to, or if I could, I guess I should say, I think that my goal would be one at minimum. I would just want to get one kicker, one fish that matters on Friday. You know what I mean? One. But if I get two, I'm ahead of the pace. You know what I mean? I'm ahead of the game. If I get a 20 and a half and an 18, now I've got the freedom to really just rock on and just go hard, knowing just need 3 more on all day on Saturday, which is, definitely doable. So that'd be my plan at least.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that'll be my strategy. I'm gonna look for that big fish first.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What about the black? No one's even talked about the black. Anyone ever fished it? Know anything about it? It's obviously
that's crying about it.
I love the black.
Yeah, dude,
one of my favorite rivers.
Well, dude,
There's no
it makes
fish there.
Wapapello. Yeah. So if Wapapello has big ones, the black's gonna have big ones too. So you got
the black makes. The black makes Clearwater.
Oh, sorry, Clearwater. Sorry. Yeah, wrong one. Yeah, St. Francis we already talked about makes Wapapello, and it's got big ones. But yeah, the black Clearwater Lake should have big ones, which you kind of hinted to, Jake, as well. But the river itself, it seems like it goes right through downtown Poplar Bluff. I mean, it seems like it's kind of cut from the same cloth these other rivers. Like it's got some pretty big ones.
It does. I mean, it's the Black River could be one of those sleeper rivers you might not want to overlook, but I've fished that before, and there's some good ones down there. But like you said too, all the rivers are like that. You can catch these fish in all the areas down there. There's so many great rivers. That's probably what I would be focused on myself. Would be all the rivers.
The fun thing about the black is that it is a very heavily floated one. So, I mean, you're going to see a lot of people out there in the summertime.
Yeah,
but the fish are so used to it that I don't really feel like they recognize that as pressure. And you can go out there midday and just smash on smallmouth all day long. I mean, it's literally that simple. And there's tons of big ones, especially when you get into the bigger holes there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, quite a few years ago, I caught I think it was 17.5 or 18-inch smallmouth out of the black up by Lesterville, and which would be way upstream in some real skinny water. And just it was at a bend in a hole coming out of that bend, and caught him on. I would say probably it's been quite a few years ago. Probably throwing a live crawdad or something I'd caught under a rock. But that thing hammered it. I got it up there. I can't believe this fish is in this little bitty skinny water, next to this hole. But yeah, everywhere we have in boundaries, I think there's potential for some good fish. And I think
absolutely
you can't go wrong.
I don't think you can. I think you could throw a dart at the map and pick a spot. There's good fish everywhere. It's just what fit your style. That's the thing.
Style. Yeah. There's 4 days you're allowed to practice for the Kayak Adventure Series within a 2-week window. So that window for Poplar Bluff starts on, I'll tell you right now when it starts, guys. It starts on June 27th to July 11th. Okay, so that's the day before the tournament begins, July 11th. You have 4 days within those 2 weeks that you can fish. You can pick those 4. So my question would be, given that we've pretty much covered and established that it could almost just seems like this is a coin flip between any one of these bodies of water. My question would be, what do you guys think the anglers will do in terms of strategy? Because you can't fish all of these bodies of water in 4 days. So you have to narrow water down before you get there in pre-tournament, like map study and online scouting and Googling and whatever, people use all the different resources. What's the best strategy? Is it to try to see if you can get to as many of these as possible, or just kind of like focus in on maybe like 1 or 2 that you feel just you got to eliminate something? So you eliminate them however you eliminate them. They just don't fish your style. Like you don't like to punch and frog, so you eliminate Duck Creek, or you don't like to Clearwater fisheries, so you eliminate Clearwater Lake because it seems like it's really clear. What about that? Or do you just say, hey, I live close enough where before that 2-week window occurs, where I only have 4 days, I'm going to fish the heck out of as much as I can, all of them, before that window even starts. Is that it?
You're going to see a lot of that.
Are you?
I think you're going to see so many locals that are going to just get out there and fish it. I know there's a lot of even MoYak anglers that are on that side of the state that will be out there starting March, and they're going to just start trying to figure out where these better fish are at. But I think for those people that you see traveling, they already know kind of their strong techniques, and they're going to definitely lean towards that rather than just trying to break down all able bodies. I mean, there's just not that much time to do that.
Yeah, there's so much water. I would just suggest finding one or two areas in your research and your map study that look like they suit your style of fishing and just focus on that. Because like we said before, a lot of the rivers are pretty similar in the way they flow and fish, and the fish that are in them, and the lakes around there kind of similar too, except for Duck Creek, its own little exception. It kind of reminds me of Bussy Break. I don't know if you've ever been down there, but it's just, it looks just like that, just stuff everywhere. So that can be overwhelming just trying to learn or know where to fish. But other than that, I would just try to focus on a couple areas and just stick with it, because even on the rivers, they're going to reload every day, and it's going to be a little bit different depending on the weather and the amount of rain we have and all that stuff, because these rivers around here can come up and go down real fast too. So that's always a factor.
Yeah, St. Francis is pretty bad about that. That's one thing I will point out. Like, if we've had a lot of rain, that river, because it's dammed where it's at, can rise and fall very quickly, because the Army Corps of Engineers is always going to prioritize Wapapello over good fishing on the river. So it was real high when we were there in August. Like, it was crazy high, and then the day of the tournament they lowered it like 2 feet. So that's one thing you have to consider too, is like water levels. Like, if the rivers are real low, which I don't think they will be, it could make some strategies not viable when you show up. I think that is one thing to consider, is like, do you have a spot that has A, B, C, D, right? Because if you commit to one area that's like way over there, you probably don't have time to drive all the way and launch on the river and do a float, right? So you need to make sure that if you're going to float the river, maybe you have a couple different points in mind. Because if you find a pattern on the river, let's say you find a topwater wood bite, that's probably going to work from the top all the way to the bottom. Now, I'm not saying it will, but
most likely
will be the case. Sure, you're going to have fish doing other things throughout the river, but like, that is like, you can't really chase every fish on the river, right? You got to just chase what you know. And I think people who find a spot that has a couple launches at it that they feel good about will probably be in the best spot, because if you try to chase everything, you're just going to spread yourself too thin.
Yeah, no doubt. You can't chase everything. Now, here's another question. I'm learning from you guys as I'm listening to everyone here talk, and it feels to me like your largemouth, you could catch a 21, a 22, even a 23 possibly, but like in this area, it's definitely possible. But the smallmouth are going to top out, and like sounds like 20.
So
20, like it's going to be very hard to get one over 20, right? I mean,
there's plenty of 21s. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, I'm not saying someone's going to catch a 21-inch smallmouth.
I see the smirk on your face.
but they exist.
So they're
not like I would say it's like winning the lottery. Like, but they're there. I mean, I think any of these rivers has a 21-inch smallmouth lurking in it at some point, right? But whether or not someone finds them, I don't know. We'll see. I would be surprised, but I don't think it's crazy to catch over a 20-inch smallmouth. I've heard of people catching 22s on several of these rivers, and I know they've caught some 23s over there on the Gasconade, which is not in bounds, but it fishes very similarly to all these rivers. So
I'm just trying to figure out what strategy. Like, it could maybe someone say, I'm just gonna say smallmouth fight harder. They're more fun by most people's judgment, right? But length is length, right? And I'm trying to win a length tournament here. So could some people just say, I'm just going to forget everything about smallmouth, and if the largemouth get bigger and it's more easier to catch a 20-inch largemouth, maybe someone just chases five greenies.
The beauty of this tournament is if you're fishing like the rivers, you don't even have to choose. They'll choose for you, right? Like, if the pattern is bass on wood, you're going to catch largemouth and smallmouth doing that, right? A lot of the smallmouth patterns this year in the early spring and early summer, I was catching giant largemouths doing it. And then all of a sudden, we got to the end of the year, I couldn't catch a largemouth to save my life. But guess what was in those spots? Big smallmouths. So like, I think with a lot of these rivers, it's just, you're going to catch both no matter what you do. Like, Sure, there's some things that are going to shade more towards the smallmouth, but you'll catch largemouth, you'll catch spots, you'll catch smallmouth, all in the same areas.
Wow. So the ratio feels like pretty even then, like between the
Yeah.
largemouth and smallmouth in some of these rivers. I'm sure there are sections of the rivers that are heavier than others, but I didn't realize it was that even of a, a ratio in the rivers there. I again, I don't know, but like if I had to guess, I feel like the upper Ozark, like the headwaters are going to be more smallmouth, and then as you drop off into that floodplain and it gets murkier water, you're going to get more your largemouth. I could be wrong, but I've seen sloughs and backwaters and stuff like that. Once you get to the floodplain, oxbows that I feel look like more largemouth. So that's interesting. I just wonder how far down the smallmouth go. If that is the case, and you guys may know, but I'm surprised to hear, it's pretty even ratio, which again makes it pretty interesting. You can obviously choose largemouth because there's no smallmouth in Duck Creek, for example. So you could definitely, you're all in.
You never
probably
know.
Largemouth. No, I know. I think if you look at that, I mean, I don't know. Maybe they somewhere.
I was just kidding.
I know, yeah, but obviously it looks. Things.
Yeah,
it would definitely.
Jake,
questions.
That unicorn you mentioned a while ago, that would, if you caught a smallmouth in Duck Creek, that would be a true unicorn.
Yeah, then you're buying your lottery.
Somebody put him in there.
Yeah, I mean, it could happen, I guess.
Someone's
that lake it's so shallow and it's super clear, like crazy clear, makes it difficult to fish. So that's something to keep in mind if you're going to fish Duck Creek. But it's shallow. It stays warm. It warms up really quick. So
yeah. Well, let's quickly talk because you guys are the furthest west event, but let's quickly talk about the AOI format, because here's what's cool. It's still early in the season. It's just our third event. So it's right in the middle, I guess. And there's of the 5 regular season events. We have 5 and then our broodstock finale. So if you guys are interested, anybody fishing this event, you want to get in on the AOI hunt, it only takes fishing 2 of the 5 regular season events. That's it. It's 2 of the 5 with your partner for the team of the year and for yourself for the angler of the year. And then you just, once you have good points, you fish 2 of the 5 or 3 or 4 if you want to fish more and give yourself a mulligan, right? You or your team a mulligan or 2. Then you combine that with your finale, the broodstock, score. So you'll need to attend brood. So really you're just fishing 3 events minimum. And that's how AOI is done. So I think that people, if you're smart, you're going to fish this event, the Ozarkana event already, just to give yourself a little bit of a mulligan. You might want to say, hey, let me go hit Shoaly-Palooza in Georgia, the first event, and go catch my first shoal bass, or go hit Michigan, just to give yourself a little bit of a buffer. Because if you do really good at this event, you've got 2 more left in the regular season events, just Pennsylvania next on the Susquehanna, which is the furthest drive for you guys in the Ozarks. And then you got Wisconsin, which isn't too bad. So if you do good at this event, you could just go to Wisconsin, do good, and then go to Kentucky to Bowling Green for the finale, our broodstock finale, and then try to win AOI. But if you want to give yourself a mulligan, I would definitely encourage hitting up one of the events before, or have to make the long trip out to the Susky, which is worth it. I'll say that for sure. Anything else we want to talk about here? Did you want to show anything, or do you have anything to show, Jake?
Yeah, I can. If we want to look at some clips real quick here.
Yeah, we got maybe let's go on for another few minutes and then we'll wrap it up. Maybe Ryan can get one on the boat. Hail Mary here at the end.
He's fumbling the bag. I think he tried to unmute and accidentally left. So
either that or he's.
So this clip here right here is from the MoYak event we had back in August. I fished with Jonathan Dominguez from Eco. Mm-hmm. He convinced me to come out for this one. But you can see this is kind of the way it's laid out is it's almost like, I don't want to say it's like Susky, but there's like islands, right? So like you see mm-hmm. here, this is like sunrise fishing islands, top water. It looks shallow. It's not. It's actually quite deep right here. You can see I've actually even got my live scope pole down in there and I'm looking around, but I'll fast forward a little bit just so people get an idea. I mean, look at all these islands. Like it's just, and you can see I'm in a Shoaly, Jonathan's in a Hobie with the XI3. So like this is a lake where you can fish whatever style you want, whatever boat you want. And you can see, look at these islands, and it's just, you can see the hills in the background. I mean, this is mm-hmm. literally like the main lake that, the Poplar Bluff sends people to. A lot of recreational fishing happens here, a lot of crappie fishing, but I mean, there's big bass, and I mean, you could fish however you want because this water is not as murky as it looks. It's actually just kind of stained. And I mean,
is there any vegetation anywhere in any lakes other than the Duck Creek that we have in bounds, or is it?
So not that I saw. I'm not saying there isn't, but like when I was there, I didn't quite see.
Yeah. So your open water fishing styles are going to work a little bit better.
So like right here, this is actually at a different spot in the lake. This is a little bit further down the river arm. I'm actually back in some islands. So like the main river is there in front of me, flowing into Wapapello, and I'm back in these like arms. And excuse me, this is where I caught those big ones. And this was my tournament spot. This is actually during tournament day. So I'm giving up the juice, but it wasn't very juicy this day because you can see the bank there has come down quite a bit. Like they pulled the water down, but I mean, you could just get lost in here. And if you go back, go ahead.
I'm sorry, Jake. Where did you launch at for where you're at here?
Oh,
I'm not asking you to give up a secret, but I'm just
no.
I spent a lot of time at Wapapello.
I can't remember the name of it, but you see here to the right, actually launches on the eastern side of it. You can launch over there. There's like a slough, and I actually come to think of it. Drew asked about vegetation. If you take a right here and go back into here, there's actually a launch that's around some vegetation, but it's super shallow. It's more like your slough, largemouth, late spring, early spring type area.
Yeah.
And I actually launched like over here on the left, like to the west. As I launched over that direction. So
yeah.
And this is like the main river flowing up here, and then like we just worked these islands, and I mean, it's deep right here. I mean, I caught fish out here to my left in like 20 feet of water, throwing top water, right? So I mean, this is an interesting lake.
There's some 30, 35 foot water runs up through the river. What I would say would probably be upstream of like Shiona Landing is one of the
we're upstream from that. That's where we are.
Yeah. Okay.
You're correct.
Yeah.
And then I
thought it looked like it.
Ran into another guy there that was like not having a good day either. So but I mean, it's an interesting lake. I definitely could see it playing with some big bags because like I talked to some people ages ago telling me about that topwater bite that I mentioned, where it's just like you could throw topwater in like 90-degree heat and still catch them. So
perfect level adventure fishing, Bowling Green, Kentucky, right here. So it looks like they will be at Broodstock. It sounds like.
Yeah.
No, that's cool, man. This is these are great clips just to be able to see, what some of it looks like. And I was asking about the vegetation just so people know. I mean, it feels like a highland, like reservoir, like you're just gonna throw more of those open water tactics. You can crank without, you're probably bouncing into rocks, just trying to get a reaction bite with crankbaits and stuff down deeper, and jigs down deeper, crawfish jigs and stuff like it. Feels like it's kind of rocky bottom, or is it more clay?
Rock.
Probably.
Are you talking about Wapapello or Clearwater?
I'm sure Wapapello and Clearwater are similar.
They're actually quite different, I would say.
Are they?
Yeah.
So,
well, like right here, this is Wapapello up a little further. This is rock. This is like big chunk rock down through here in this area. Water's pretty stained right here. It's not super clear, but I mean, it's like 30 feet deep holes with just, chunk rock. This almost looks like table rock even, those rocky banks with like trees growing on them, stuff like that. I mean, the water clarity gives it away that it's not, but
right. No,
I know this whole section of Wapapello is just, it's like an enigma. It's interesting. So
yeah, it looks like a fun place. You can see how why some big bags come out of it for sure. Anything else you want to show us? Any river stuff, or should we wrap up? What do you guys think? Any other comments from anybody else out there before we wrap up the preview show here?
No, I just say buckle up, because I think this event will be a lot of fun, especially if you're a multi-species angler. You're going to have a chance to catch every single species in like good quantities. I think the spotted bass might actually be one of those river sleepers, because if you can get on a pocket of like 17-inch spotted bass, which seems crazy, you could fill out a limit in spotted bass and go chase, your other ones.
You could. And again, the micro bag, I'm telling you, I think the rivers being as clear as they are, and it being July, and the lake, And that micro bag is going to be fun for sight fishing at that event. Very fun.
You might not even have to try to micro bag. That's the beauty of this. I have caught my smallest smallmouth ever was on a jerk bait on the St. Francis. So small that I put it through the scupper plug on the shoalie on a jerk bait. So
that's crazy.
You might not even have to try.
You won't have to try. We all know we catch small fish when we don't intend to. You won't have to try. But when you're actually competing in the micro bag with let's say 30 or 40 other people are trying to catch the smallest 5 with a minimum of 5 inches, right? To get a 5, and actually get a bag that's in the 20s, not over 30. Trust me, you'll have to try. It is like a challenge, and because you'll be sight fishing and you got to like have the perfect aim and cast, and you'll see a bunch of bass, and some of them will be 7 and 8, but you'll see some that are 5 and 6, and you've got to get it close to one of them because these fish are fast, the small ones. And if you don't have an accurate cast with that small bait, and they spook too. I mean, it's not like you can just throw over there and now you catch. Someone will figure out there's a skill set and a strategy to catching 5 and 6 inch bass that other people won't understand how to do, and keeping them hooked with the right bait, keeping them hooked, getting it in front of them. The beauty of this event, I'm telling you, it's like when I did this on the Susquehanna and I practiced microbagging for the first time and fell in love with it. It's so much fun because you're constantly seeing fish, finding fish, catching fish, all that matter in the tournament, in the event, and it is going to win you money. So it's pretty exciting and a challenge. Someone's going to be good at it. I don't think this event's going to be one of those where we're going to see someone win the micro bag and win the biggest 5 too. That's going to be a challenge, but maybe they could place in both,
You never know.
You don't ever know. We'll see. It's going to be a challenge. But all right, parting thoughts, Ryan. You never got one in the boat?
Nope, never got one in the boat. Lost a few, but never got one in the boat.
Well, we saw you have one on. We know it. You had one on. Well, we think, unless you were just faking us out. So you kind of have proof that you hooked one.
You need to go micro bagging.
Yeah.
There ain't no micro bag on the Tanny up here. Too cold for them.
Yep. Well, good having all you guys on. Thanks for your time. Look forward to seeing everybody at the event. Good luck. And this has been your Ozarkana preview show for the Kayak Adventure Series. Check it out, kayakadventureseries.com. #Chase the While. Until next week, where we're going to talk about, what's next week? Susquehanna, the Fiesta on the Susky in Towanda, Pennsylvania. That's a preview show. Cannot wait for you guys to be a part of that and join us here next week, 11 a.m. Eastern. So catch you later. See ya.
Thanks, guys.
See ya.
See ya.